Okay, friends, so this is going to be the video for the names that are on the ASX, and we're starting out with Aura Energy. This is your monthly as a lifetime chart, just so you see it for perspective. Like it's tough to even make a judgment on this stuff when they first come out, right? They came out during the last bull run and did their thing. Okay, so let's just zoom into this monthly chart because there is a little bit of an interesting setup here, right? So they did this. Looks like a reverse split, right? Yeah, reverse split over here. That's what just changed this chart a little bit here, sent this gap up here. So it's tough to even say that this gap could fill. I mean, it could. Who knows, right? So then they had some news from Sweden, I think, on this also somewhere in here where it got a good little pop. But right now it's a sideways deal. Um, but the chart doesn't look horrible for the short term, I guess, for the year, maybe if you want to order past 6 months. So, the be all end all at the moment would be 14.5 cents, but here's just one of those 200-day moving average support guys. So, and it's been holding it for 4 months now, right? And we've had this rising 12 EMA, the red line, which is it's all pretty good. So you don't want to see that 200-day moving average get lost. So, we want to keep it tight. We say 24.5 cents is the spot to hold at the moment, right? But your pivot, your swing pivot on the monthly chart is here. It's 14.5. Weekly is just sideways. Again, we've got this. It's great that this 200-day is holding. Little breach here, and that tells you something. But here's that run up we've had for a while. So I mean, this is just fantastic, right? It's just no real consolidation. Now you're getting to see some, and it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, it's just going to have to be that way until the market or the sector tells us something differently, right? But fundamental news recently on this thing, there was something about Sweden maybe just embracing nuclear power to another extent. I know there's a guy on Twitter that um, focuses on this stock. Daily chart. Yeah. So again, sideways action. It's clear. 29.5 is your resistance and 24.5. So you have about a 5 cent range that this guy is trading in. And until it tells you otherwise, that's what it's going to be. When I see all this flatness here, right? You see all these flat tops. It's very algorithmic. So there's not a lot of volume in here. So there's not a lot of retail traders messing with this thing. So it's just getting those clear, hard levels that it just works off of. And every once in a while it breaches, every once in a while it stops. Very algorithmic. But the truth is that it's above the 200-day average, and that seems to be the metric. All these other moving averages are acting as resistance at the moment. But that's Aura Energy. Bannerman, 10 Baggerman, I think someone calls it, right? So the monthly chart. Uh, yeah, so it had a great little run, and it's just had some pretty nasty consolidation. I am in this name, and I will probably add to it if I find a favorable entry point, and I don't see that favorable entry point now. I mean, we are testing pretty big support. It's probably something you're going to hear a lot from me because it just seems to be the deal. Everything is going sideways, right? Right? It had these ranges, these upper ranges, and it just broke. So now it's testing the bottom of this range here, this value area. And if you go back, these were acting as resistance for a while. So really, $1.20 is going to be an interesting spot, I would guess. Don't really want to see it get there, but right now our key spot is $1.50, and this is Australian. This is the ASX, but these are not good looks when you have these ranges and they're bouncing in between them. Here's your hard rejection here. It's not a great look, and you have that 200-day moving average acting as resistance plus the entire moving average stack. It's all acting as resistance. Volume is lackluster at best. $1.50 is the line in the sand. Let's see what the daily gives us, if anything. Yeah, so you're having a bit of a waterfall drop here, and we've broken some key supports, So really looking down at 150, and if that breaks, then we're going to be looking down at 120. So not the best look. The RSI is in oversold conditions, and historically on the RSI and the daily, it bounces from here, right? It doesn't really breach down here, but can we even? Well, and that was the pandemic low over there. So since then, anytime it's gotten into the RSI level where it's oversold, it's been an opportunity. Will that be the case this time? Don't know. Again, general market conditions are a little bit of a problem right now. So, just zoom in a little bit and it just gapped down today. So, uranium is not very happy at the moment. So, that's the deal with Bannerman. Let's see if 150 holds. Otherwise, you're looking down at this 120 range. And there is a gap down here from 139. Let's just zoom in on that gap for a second. Yeah, so 139 to 136. So there's a gap here. We always have to be mindful of those gaps. Mind the gap. What's next? Boss. Yeah, a lot of people are dumbfounded. No, that's baseload. Sorry. Boss Energy. Interesting, right? This monthly is really just it's just a big range of consolidation. I mean, it's a very big range. So it didn't quite get to set its monthly lower higher low here. I'm sorry, lower low. So we are still in just a big old sideways range. So our key level is obviously 161. And this was not a good look because it just lost this 200-day. So this is great. It got over it, bounced off it a couple times as support, and breached it again. So, again, I've talked about this multiple times in my other videos that the 200-day seems to be the metric for the space right now. You have a lot of wood to chop here. So, this thing it's starting to break down out of this volume profile. So, it's starting to build like an air pocket here, big time. So, these things, as they start to break down, and if they're mainly retail traders, the stops could start getting hit. Don't know how that all plays out. The space, there's nothing wrong with our sector in general. I can't really attest to the ASX, but I'm sure there's shenanigans that go on there as they do here. On the weekly chart, yeah, weekly downtrend. It was really it didn't hold this low here. So it's just confirming it. We had that double bottom, and now it's just really confirmed the break. So, we're going to be looking down into this range as our next spot to see how it handles itself. So that's where it stands there. The daily, yeah, I mean it broke this last line of defense here. It's got a gap down here at what's the high? The gap gets filled at 210 in Australia. So, you know, traders like to target gaps, and this might not be an exception to that. So, but again, our line in the sand is here. But you were fine in this range until it broke down. Now we've had some weak support on the bottom of this range, and that broke down. So what's next? You have kind of, and we're looking at this volume profile here. It broke through the chunk of it. It's down. It's below it. So we have some support starts to really wane down here. So if there's no buyers, it's just gonna get pushed down. That is Boss Energy. Deep yellow. This seems to be a favorite amongst a lot of people. John Bershoff, he has some sort of magical touch in the uranium space, but looks very similar to I think Bannerman. Yeah, it looks very similar to Bannerman on the monthly. Again, we got our line in the sand. It's right here. So 59 cents, 55 cents breaks, and we lose this big monthly trading range that we've been working in for, year and a half. So yeah, typical of the run-ups and the pullbacks. That's what we're looking at. And our volume profile is really going to wane down here also. So you're going to hit these air pockets and you might not see some support until you get down into this 49 area, right? So these spots have acted as resistance, resistance. Now it seems to be this area. Hopefully it holds as support. That's it on the monthly there for deep yellow. Yeah, look at this weekly chart. You tell me if there's anything good about this weekly chart, what you can find as positive, other than the fact that you have a couple of support areas here in this 58 to 55 range. Volume profile air pocket, a little bit of some supply demand zone maybe down here in the 49 to 50 area. But we all know that the sector is just going to have some sort of crazy bounce at some point. Could be tomorrow, could be a year from now. We don't know. But so we have to kind of stick with what the charts are showing us, and this chart is not showing us anything good either. Now there are some liquidity issues here. It's a tough one to trade. I don't know how it is on the ASX, but the OTC is just there's nothing there. So you really have to be. I mean, I'm personally very small on it, and I try to find oversold conditions or decent support areas where I might just take a little bit of an ad. Daily is the same deal. It's not much different than anything else. You have this. We're going to see that a lot of the uranium charts look alike with these undercut lows uh, from June, uh, and we're coming back to test those areas. So we're a lot's going to be. We're going to know a lot about how the health of the sector is at if these undercut lows hold. If they don't, it could be problematic. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Again, this is another one with, RSI on the daily. We can't really, again, this is the pandemic lows, so we can kind of discount that. It's a little abnormal. You had a little bit of a cut down here, as you can see down here. All right, but RSI, usually when it gets into these oversold conditions, it likes to bounce. And so if you're an RSI trader, which I am not, I just use it as a little bit of a metric. These are the spots that you might just say, let's see how it reacts down here. But it likes to bounce out of there. And I think, let me just see, I might have another one. Yeah, I do. GTR. Now, this is, I've never really looked at this one before. And I need to go to the quarterly, I think, on this one. Yeah. So this is a quarterly chart, the life of the name, and it came out during the big bull run, and it just never really recovered. So we're looking at the true bottom of this thing. It's actually much lower than when it came out, and even when it hit its big low down here, it's breached that. So this is the 3 months chart. So there's a lot of data in here, but this is again another tough one. It's going through its multiple reverse splits. It's just how these little guys work. Here's your monthly chart, and it's again breaking down out of these ranges. Here's your range here, and it just, there's your undercut, your June undercut. It's already taken that undercut out. So you're looking at down at 0.004 as your next true support. So nothing to me, I just don't have any interest in this name at all. There is actually an OTC ticker on it too. And it looks like it just stopped trading. I got to look at yeah, I've got it. GTRIF. I'll show it to you after we go through this. But again, the weekly, it's broken down out of this range. So you're down, you're looking at these decimation lows, and the daily's not going to give us much more information. See, again, I look at these candles, and this is just there's nobody trading this. So this is just the algo moving it a tenth or a hundredth of a tenth of a cent just to show something, right? So there's nothing there. This is all algorithmic trading. There's nobody in it. Just as a let me just show you this is the OTC ticker on it. So there's absolutely nothing going on. And the truth is, you sit there and say, "Oh, well, I'm on the ASX. Who cares about OTC?" Well, you do, because if the OTC starts getting volume and interest, that will translate over into the ASX. But again, there's nothing here. And if you look at the daily, I mean, the thing hasn't traded. Uh, the last trading day that's even showing up in data is November 29th. So it's been about a week, and there's no data left on it. So that's the deal with GTI Energy. Peninsula monthly chart. Let's look at the quarterly real quick. Yeah, so it's same deal. I mean, again, this guy's been around for a while, which is fine. It's got an established history, and it's kind of moving into black dirt breakdown. I mean, it literally is right now in black dirt breakdown. So everything goes out the window when you're in black dirt breakdown. They just did I mean, how bad is the finance? I mean, they just do a financing recently that just, what do you wait till you get to the very bottom of the stock price to do a financing? But you know, they got to do what they got to do. So here's the weekly. Again, it's the same deal. Most of these charts look alike across the board, and it's just these ranges that are kind of just being lost now. So you've had these multiple weeks of support that most of these names across the board have been bouncing off of, and now they're starting to lose it. So now you kind of have to start to look at the next level. So 11 cents is probably your next level here, and then 9 cents. But this thing, it broke down in the summer. Had a great bounce, and it's kind of starting to come back to test that area again. So keep your eye on it. It seems to be that there's people that like this one. I can't tell you from a true fundamental point of view on there. So just 11.5 breaks down, and you're probably looking at 9.5. Yeah, it's just again these ranges. Daily downtrends, holding supports, range breaks, algorithmic trading. There's nobody in this thing. You know, so until that changes, that's where we are. Now, we've had an undercut on the RSI. So historically, again, these RSIs, it's bounced on these oversold conditions. Not here. This one, it dug deeper, got a little bit of a bounce, and it's retesting again. So, there's nothing that looks good on this chart. Let's just try to go back to the monthly. Let's try to find something positive here. Um, let's just pull a fib maybe. So I'll take this out of black dirt breakdown. This is your monthly chart. Yeah, so it's broken down out of these golden pockets here. I think we're probably going to see that across a lot of the names in the space, not just in the Australian names. And now you're at the 78.6 retracement. So, if you're looking at this monthly, we're in another support zone as opposed to this undercut low. So does the undercut low get tested? If it does, it's probably majority of the names are going to get tested that way. That's the deal. Peninsula. Over and out.